Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Evolve Point, your weekly-ish, well, we're getting back to it, Shadowverse Podcast. And the reason why I say that is because finally, Worlds Beyond is almost coming out. The hype is starting to build. And with me, as always, first of all, I'm Ignideus. Wow, I do not remember how to start a podcast. I'm Ignideus, content creator, streamer, caster. With me, as always, is Lord Kalen, moderator of the Shadowverse Reddit.
Yeah, and this week I'm a fish. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. And we got Such Patanko, fellow Shadowverse streamer, who's now mostly playing boomer Yu-Gi-Oh games for the Game Boy Color. What happened to you? Are you good, bro?
I've got to sneeze.
Nah, he based for that. Those boomer Yu-Gi-Oh games were lit.
I can't sneeze. Never mind.
Oh, ruined.
There's a weird amount of like TCG games that came out for the Game Boy Color. Like, wasn't there like a Pokemon one as well? That
the Game Boy Color.
I've seen those too.
It's so good. It's actually aged pretty well considering. Opening the packs in it is unironically fun.
The Game Boy Color.
I streamed the Pokemon Game Boy Color games a couple years ago. The sequel game didn't come out in English. It was Japanese only, but there's a English patch, and the sequel is like actually surprisingly way better somehow.
I mean, I
never played the sequel because it's Japanese only, but in the original, I remember the last time I played it, I made the Blastoids deck that was just completely overpowered.
You call them Blastoids?
Yeah, Blastoids.
That's sounds like he's like a hernia medication when you call him that. I don't like that.
That's messed up, man. That's messed up.
Anyway, well, what have you been up to this past week, lads?
Oblivion. I've been Oblivion maxing.
And Tonko?
I pulled all the characters and all the gachas. I'm so good at these games.
Weren't you just like complaining that you lost all your money to the IRS, and now you're just?
I didn't spend. Well, I spent some money. I didn't spend much money. I'm so good at these games.
You're so good. It reminds me of a DM I got from another card game guy, and he was like, "I'm gonna be so broke," and he linked me a high rare of the Bibu from Hololive. And I said, why don't you just stop spending money? And he's like, I can't do that. So this is just like that one drill tweet, I think, honestly.
That other the other thing I've been doing this week, which I completely forgot about, even though I spent so much of my week doing it, was defending Super Earth from the damn Illuminid.
That's right. You got to stop the Illuminid from making people into tentacle monsters, is what I think happens.
We couldn't save Buenos Aires or France or another city. Damn. But it's okay. We saved China and Singapore and
it's like a direct attack on Super Earth. It's not like another planet.
Yeah.
Cool. That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, multi-week long invasion of Super Earth.
Very cool.
It's been
I don't know what these things mean.
Oh, it's from Helldivers 2, a game that I bought to play with Kalen and then never booted up once. So I'll
never forgive him for this. He bought it before Christmas. It's been 6 months.
Since half a year.
Yeah. We stood you up for half a year.
Anyway, I've had a really busy week, as you know. A busy month. I went from Indonesia to Japan, and then from Japan to Indonesia, and then from Indonesia to Singapore, and then from Singapore to Indonesia, and then from Indonesia to Taiwan, and then from Taiwan to Indonesia, and then I had Comifuro, which is a convention here, and I was working at the Bushiroad Expo there, and then I had a filming session just yesterday, with another YouTuber, Hyper Potatoes, and now it's today. So I've been nonstop. I'm gassing out, guys. I'm on my last legs.
You sound tired.
I'm on my second cup of coffee today, and I just woke up. So let's
get a third. It's that easy.
Let's do this podcast, okay? First of all, Shadowverse 1 news as we start the freaking podcast. So it's 4. I got a new system where I do timestamps in the middle of an episode. All right. Shadowverse 1 news. There's not much. Shadowverse Open Farewell Cup has been announced by JCG. It's the final ever JCG tournament. So on the 24th of May. Oh, that already happened. Oh, it already wrapped up. Oh, I thought this was an upcoming thing, but it already finished. God damn it. I'm out of the loop. So on the 24th of May, they did an unlimited thing, and then they also did a 2-pick for Omen of the Ten to Godworm. to Rebirth of Glory, and then they did a throwback. Oh, sorry, they did they did a throwback of World Uprooted on the next day on the 25th. So it's the final ever JCG tournament for original Shadowverse, I believe. You got some rewards for it, like emblems and flares. The flare has the emblem has a Kerberos on it with the JCG logo. And other than that, it's just a nice send-off, I guess. You also get money, so that's good. You get like 30,000 yen if you win the unlimited.
Looks like a Biscraft one. To spoil the tournament, looks like a Biscraft was the real winner.
Oh, there you go. There you have it.
Yeah.
And yeah, very cool. I'm very, with JCG, they've been like a stalwart for the Japanese community hosting events, and some of them are even open to like overseas now, so it's cool to see them still dedicated to the franchise even though the game is like closing out. And I hope to see them again in Worlds Beyond, because that would be great. So thank you JCG for doing that. All right, moving on to the Worlds Beyond. Oh, go ahead.
If I may, before doing Worlds Beyond, I just want to quickly add so I'm probably the only person on the planet that's been actually playing this Grand Prix.
Yeah, I have not played
checked it out. I've been skipping my entire run.
I've been really working on Worlds Beyond content for new players, so I've just like not been playing OG Shadowverse at all. I'm not gonna lie.
Like, I'm not even streaming this Grand Prix. I'm playing it on my own time.
Why?
Like,
yeah, because if you were streaming it, I'd snipe you.
Well, true.
There's like nobody playing, but like, I mean, the prize is like, I care like a little bit. It's Amelia sleeves. It's Amelia's called out. She's got like several areas, like fields of interest for me. Yeah, sure.
Mostly armpits,
but,
right?
Yeah. But like, dude, this Grand Prix is the worst Grand Prix I've ever played in my life because it's regular Take Two.
Yeah,
it's regular Take Two for Rebirth of Glory. Which it's not like an All-Stars, it's not like a Tactics, it's just regular Take Two, and regular Take Two was not built for Grand Prix because, like, you get nothing to work with.
Well, I heard that this was a Portal Craft format. Is that not what you're finding? That's what people told me.
That's if you get Portal Craft.
Oh, you only get the choice of the three?
I get stuck with fake classes like Haven and actually not Haven. Actually, we actually made it to Group A with Haven, but like Dragon, Sword is fake. I mean, people claim Sword is always good in Grand Prix, but like, dude, like I had to go through a chart, like a JP chart showing recommended cards for recommended picks for this Grand Prix format, and like it's tough, dude, because it's a regular Grand Prix, all the cards are really, really basic. And it's an older format. It's an older expansion, Rebirth of Glory. So all the cards are level. And even if you do get a blowout card like Lishana, there's like no deck thinning. So who knows if you're even gonna draw into it? But I reached Group A for round 2. I got Amelia sleeves. Whoop-de-doo.
Well, congratulations.
Photocraft good.
So
Photocraft good. I don't even know how I made it with Haven. I didn't even have a win con. You cannot draft a win con in these type of Grand Prix. So anyway, that's all
I think what I hate about the Grand Prix, like one of the reason I'm not bothering with the Grand Prix right now is the sleeves don't transfer to the Worlds Beyond, and the Grand Prix sleeves I'm probably the most proud of would be the GP1 Deus Ex Machina sleeves that you could only get if you got at least a win in the finals, and those aren't transferring. So
are they not? Wait, I totally like zoned out. I thought cosmetics were transferring.
Not all of them, though.
Only some of them, like the Grandmaster ones transfer over.
Oh, right.
Grandmaster, and
that's what it was.
These sleeves you get from leaders will transfer, but not from GPs. Your GP flares will, if you've got any. I've got 5 because I'm a baller. Only 3 of them are going to transfer because I got the Lagunica Cup champion and the Shaman King Cup champion.
Yeah, that's not coming. That's not coming.
Yeah, they're getting evaporated.
I just went for the Amelia sleeves because I like Amelia, even though she's Swordcraft, in spite of her being Swordcraft.
We'll speak more about people showing their armpits later because Worlds Beyond has a lot of that. I've just noticed because I already did the overlay art for this episode, which is the graphic on the video where you just click on the video and it's just like the static image. And I've just noticed that looking at Marie Melissa's art, she's also showing her armpits. I didn't even notice that until now. So
nice. We already live in a world where people will post pictures online and then just have to censor their armpits and feet, even if they aren't sexual. So
true.
One day will. One day there'll be a giant censorship wave in Worlds Beyond, getting rid of all the pits. I can believe it.
No. They would never. Not with all the marketing being centered on Dryzen, who's freaking misses pits, dude. There's no shot. All right, shall we get into the Worlds Beyond news?
I quit.
Let's move on. I'm dying. Let's go. All right. Worlds Beyond, the official Shadowverse Worlds Beyond Discord server was up. Have you guys joined that server?
Yeah, I was on there, shit posting for a little bit, and then, as I predicted, the mods had to take away image and emoji perms.
Dude, it was so funny.
We were horsing around, as you could say.
I was there so early, and everyone was just spamming GIFs, go my Ponix or whatever, and they just banned GIFs, banned external emojis, banned images. They re-added GIFs now, but it was pretty funny that everything got, like, nuked in the first 2 seconds. And when I was in Taiwan, I actually met the CH admin for the Discord server, and he was like, yeah, people are rowdy in there. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's okay. Once the game actually comes out and people have something to talk about, it's going to be less bad. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, I never interact or communicate in these bigger Discord servers. Whenever I look in there, I just see Uma. That's it.
Yeah, this server got turned into Uma Musume.
Pretty immediately, yeah. It was pretty funny.
Dude, first hour, I was the first person to get called the N-word. It was so funny.
It was pretty crazy, but that guy got banned immediately after that.
You got a week for it. Yeah.
All right. Next up, at Comifuro in Jakarta, there was a Bushiroad Expo. I was there as a special guest, in fact. This is sort of unrelated to Worlds Beyond because it was for Shadowverse Evolve and for Vanguard, but I did player duels, gunslinger duels, showcase matches, autograph signing. It was really fun. Got a lot of nice people coming up saying hi and giving me gifts and all that. And but other than that, you know what else was there? You could get a Eudie sticker by showing the staff that you pre-registered, and you could get a Worlds Beyond sticker sheet with all of the characters on it by showing that you reposted the tweet. And I have those now, so I have now 2 Eudie stickers, and I have 3 Worlds Beyond postcards, 2 Eudie stickers, and a Worlds Beyond sticker sheet. Now I don't even know what I'm gonna do with all these.
Yeah, I was gonna say I watched your video unpacking your multi-year-old merch, and like a sticker is a very temporary piece of merch. You put it somewhere, and then it's probably going to fade and get destroyed over time. Mm-hmm. But wouldn't you rather have it somewhere visible and get destroyed over time rather than living in a bag for 8 years?
Well, I didn't leave it in the bag for 8 years on purpose. I was just moving around a lot, and then I forgot about it, and then I discovered it. And now I've actually taken out all the stuff from that bag and put it up in various places in my apartment. So don't you worry about that.
I have friends that collect stickers, and what they do is that they get like a mini art portfolio binder and just put the stickers for display on the inside that instead.
Another good way to do it is to just put it on your suitcase. It's always fun, and they'll fade eventually.
I covered my PC in Fallout 4 stickers because I had some Fallout 4 stickers.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, Tonko, do you want one of my Eudie stickers? Because I got 2 now. So
well. You know how to pay me, so.
All right, next up, we got a little graphic from the Cygames EN team on Twitter talking about their upcoming convention appearances. And on that graphic, they also had they posted the digital version of the full art mural they had at the Kentucky Derby. So it's the mural. I think we already talked about this on the last episode, but this time they have the digital version. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just describing it from a photo. This is the digital version, nice HD.
And as you can see, front and center, it's Drazen's exposed
armpits. Yeah, for real.
I'm not an armpit guy, but I'm happy for you two. Okay, so next up,
whoa, I've been eating good.
The Cygames will be showing up at Anime Expo on July 3rd to the 6th in Los Angeles. They'll be showing up in Japan Expo also from July 3rd to the 6th in France. And they'll be showing up in Comic Exhibition July 24th to 28th in Taipei. So look out for that if you're close to those areas, if you want to take a look at the new Cygames games. And with Drazen front and center, I would assume that Worlds Beyond is going to be there, right? So there you go.
that's part of the marketing cycle for Worlds Beyond. It seems mostly conventions rather than traditional advertising.
Although it is starting to pick up a little bit, I will say it's not as much as I would like. But I have seen ads on like Facebook and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
I've heard there's YouTube ads playing now.
Yeah, I've seen.
Do I take out a loan to go to Anime Expo for Dries and Pits?
And for the Eudie sticker, which you gotta get.
Yeah, there might be a Eudie sticker over there.
That's crazy. You got no choice, no?
At least it's July. That's the month after next month.
Yeah. It's actually after the release, but
yeah.
But I guess it's sort
by
of
then
like,
we'll already be in that'll be the marketing cycle for the second expansion.
Well, there's
right?
gonna be post-launch marketing for sure, because like once the game's already out, you can like at a convention instantly tell people to download it. You know what I mean? Instead of telling them to pre-register it. So and be like, hey, you get 60 free packs or whatever. You download the game now and stuff like that. So yeah.
Well,
also, what was I gonna say? I hope in terms of marketing that they really look into doing like influencer activations. Not me, like specifically not me, because I'm gonna be making content for it anyway. But they gotta get like freaking La Plus Darkness to make a video on Worlds Beyond. They gotta get freaking
that's what I meant.
Fuamoko to make a video on Worlds Beyond.
That would be so funny.
I mean, weren't they in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel? Like, they have a precedent for this. Like, come on, just copy Master Duel and, get Fuamoko to play Shadowverse. It's all good.
Yeah, Cygame's already sponsored Hollow, EN, and some of JP for some Shadowverse 1 advertising.
That's right.
And Niji Sanji, EN.
Yeah, and Body System and all that. And then Giguk as well. Like, you gotta get these people on board.
Giguk didn't need to be sponsored, turns out. Bro was a top 100 rune, man.
Yeah, but he still got sponsored for that video. He still got paid for it. But it's like, we should absolutely, there should absolutely be more. I'm kind of sad that there isn't more yet, but hopefully after the game comes out, set 1, set 2, we'll ramp that up. That's my hope anyway. All right. Next up, I was actually flown out by Cygames to Taiwan for a Worlds Beyond press event, which is kind of an insane sentence to say. At first, when I was invited, I thought it was an influencer event. And then I asked what other YouTubers are going to be there. And they were like, what do you mean what other YouTubers? It's going to be like actual gaming publications and you. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's a little intimidating. So I'll talk about my experience a little bit. If you don't mind, I'll just yap and then you can ask whatever questions you like. Sound okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I got flown out to Taipei. It was like in the center of the city, and they put me up in a pretty nice hotel. Honestly, I was very pleasantly surprised. And I arrived in the morning, so I had one day to just like walk around, and I met up with I was just asking on Twitter, like, anybody in Taipei have any recommendations, and some guy from the Vanguard community offered to like just guide me around the entire city all day, which is amazing. So people are really nice. in physical card games, there are a lot of really nice people, it turns out. There's a lot of weirdos, but there's also a lot of really nice people. So I'm very happy I got into physical card games. And then the next day, I wasn't told where the event was, and I wasn't told what exactly was happening in it. They just said, be at the hotel lobby at 10:45 a.m. and we will escort you there. And I was like, oh, okay. That's kind of crazy. So I did that, and we took an Uber to the venue, which was just like a small like event space just in the middle of the city. And I'm still working on the Taiwan video, by the way. I was given express permission. In fact, I'm being sponsored to make a vlog for it. It's still in the works because I've been really busy over the past few days, as you know, because I went to Comifuro and stuff. But I'll just describe what happened here. We went to the event space. There were like a bunch of little cardboard, like small miniature standees for the leaders, like all around the room. There was a bunch of desks lined up, kind of like a classroom, and it was facing a projector, which was where the media presenter would be, showing all the stuff and like the schedule for the day. Also in there was like a giant mural of the Shadowverse Worlds Beyond key art, which you already know, like the title screen art, and also a big like mural of a bunch of arts of cards. Some of them haven't even been revealed yet. So we got new art of Forte, new art of I think we've seen the Aria. So the ones that were new are Forte, and I believe it was Jean as well, was revealed on that mural, which is very cool. I posted on Twitter
I
as
am
well.
pogging internally at
Yes.
the idea of a new fort.
They look really good. They look really good. And then so I sat down, and the presentation was given entirely in Chinese. But for me and one other guy who is from a gaming website in Thailand, they had a translator just for us two, and I felt very special. So at the beginning of the day, it was a trial session. Oh yeah. Also, they give out some merch. So alongside, gifts of like food and drink for like lunch for the day, they also had a Shadowverse Worlds Beyond tote bag, which I did show off in the merch video I just made yesterday. And inside that tote bag was a clear file of one of the random legendaries from that mural. So it was either Arya, Albert, Kuon, what was the Abysscraft one? I can't remember. Was it Kerberos? I assume. Orcus, Jean Forte, so one of those 7, and you get a clear file of them, and it was a random one, and I did not get the Forte one, but I think I'm okay with it because I got the Orcus one, which is probably more high value for people out there, so that's good.
Well, you know how to pay me.
Not that I'm gonna sell it, but I do have it now. And they also gave out 2 free stickers, also random, of like chibi art style of the leaders from Worlds Beyond. I got Galen and Esperanza. The guy in front of me got a Jean clear file, and he got Kaori and who did he get? Kaori and Dreitzen, I think. I don't remember. But anyway, KMR was going to, he said he was supposed to come, but he just ended up zooming in. But that's for later. That's the interview section, which we will talk about in the main topic for today, because somebody actually was able to, from Shadowverse Magazine, kindly they translated the interview from Japanese/Chinese into English for us to like analyze today. I was actually not allowed to film the interview. That was prohibited because obviously I guess they don't want because KMR is zooming in, they don't want like somebody to freeze frame like him sneezing or whatever and like doing defamatory stuff, right? So I wasn't allowed to film the interview myself. So it's really good that we have the transcription now that we can just talk about. But anyway, at the event we did it's the same demo build as the one that was in Daivangasai and the Shadowverse Fest a couple months ago. So Park was grayed out, settings were grayed out. It's the same as last time, but this time they sent me over the screen capture footage of the iPad. So I am now in possession of 2.5 hours of high resolution, high definition Shadowverse Worlds Beyond footage that I'm trying to cut together into the vlog video as well. Again, I'll be working on that today and tomorrow to try and get that done as soon as possible.
HD uncensored Worlds Beyond footage.
Actually,
still
HD.
censored.
Actually, HD. And I found out a feature that I didn't even notice in the previous demo because I went immediately into the game. The main menu screen on the home screen where it has Dreitzen or whatever hero you want on the home screen.
Please tell me you can tickle her.
You can click her, and she will. She will do a little pose and a voice line. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Okay, so not as your lane levels.
No.
But...
She will click her and she'll be like, I'm Dreitzen, I will get my vengeance or whatever. And then she'll like wave her gun around. And I didn't even notice that the first time. Interestingly, there was voice acting in English for everything except for the home screen. The home screen was in Japanese still. So I wonder if that's just a WIP or what. I assume so. And then we did the solo play session where I, beat the computer easily with the classes because the computer, I noticed this time as well because I had more time with it, hands-on, one-on-one. The computer in practice mode does not know how to super evolve. So I don't know if that's a bug or if that's just because it's an easy difficulty AI. But they literally,
easy.
Yeah, probably because it's easy. They literally don't know how to super evolve. They cannot do it. They always end the game never super evolving. So that's very odd. And then also we did the versus mode, and I had to fight the games journalist from Thailand in front of me, and we just did mirror matches coincidentally. And it went pretty well. The the battles are exactly the same as they were before, except now it's on a high resolution iPad screen instead of a phone screen, and it ports over really well, like the resolution. There's no like wackiness with aspect ratio or anything, so that's good to hear. And yeah, after that was the interview, which we'll talk about soon, with KMR, where he addressed some really, really interesting stuff. And then after that was the end of the event. So it was only a couple hours, but it was the end of the event for media. But actually, after us, they were going to do a play session with players. So it looks like they were collecting player feedback, which is pretty cool. The final thing that I'll talk about before we head into the interview section is that they had a survey. And a lot of the survey was very basic feedback stuff like, oh, what do you want in the game? Better animations, blah, blah, blah. But they also had a couple of interesting things that aren't confirmed yet, that because if they're in the survey, it must be stuff that they're considering. One is more online events for Shadowverse tournaments. 2 is more offline tournaments for Shadowverse. 3, and this is the interesting one, offline events for Shadowverse that aren't tournaments. So like Grand Blue Fest, I guess, would be an equivalent that's familiar to Psy games. I guess they're considering that for Shadowverse. I assume it must depend on like if the game is a success or not, right?
And it's beyond soccer tournaments.
Yeah, right. Some kind of offline, like just casual event just for Shadowverse would be pretty interesting. 3, was that 3 or am I on 4? Whatever.
That was the third, yeah.
The next one is another interesting thing was that they said, do you want guild missions or like guild versus guild? So that's something they're considering, clearly, which is very cool. And of course, the one that I also voted for was, do you want more activations with influencers? I'm trying to get that bag, right? So I just clicked that one immediately. So yeah, very cool stuff. Very enlightening. Lots of new information that wasn't in the demos previously because we got like actual survey feedback and one-on-one like KMR answering questions session for the media. So very cool. Before we dive into the main topic here and talk about the actual interview, is there anything you want to ask about my experience or what happened in Taiwan?
I mean, you already mentioned what you found that was new in the demo. So not really sure. The question of the week is going to cover that segment, really.
True. All right.
How weird was it being surrounded by like actual professional journalists?
I was not as uncomfortable as I thought because one, I think gaming journalism is kind of less important than actual journalism anyway. Sorry.
Yeah. I could say things.
Yeah. Let's save that for off cast. I mean, I don't have anything against the people here though, because I don't believe that they were, anyone that they were mostly foreign media. Like it was like even
they weren't Americans.
Okay, hold on. All right. I'm not trying to make any enemies. Just to be clear, Caitlin said that, not me. But yes, it was. The reputation that places like an IGN can have, and they're not necessarily sparkling clean reputations, etc. But the most people here were like, they were media from Taiwan, especially, obviously, right? Because it was an event held in Taipei. But also, I believe, Japan might have been there. And also, it was Thailand, of course, and me. So I think I was the only English speaker there, like natively. So kind of crazy.
I do think it's interesting that they picked Taiwan specifically.
Well, I think because they already had several demo events in Japan. And with the Taiwan market is really, really big for mobile games, computer games, etc. So I understand.
I never really thought about is Shadowverse Worlds Beyond just going to be available day one in Greater China?
I have no clue. That's actually not something they addressed. Yeah. I think that's a very it's a political hot potato that they probably aren't going to address in a
because they had to wait years to get the NetEase version.
They're not going to like present that in like this press event, I suppose, but
gotta censor half the Abyss craft.
Hey, some of that censored art, like Mordecai's skull helmet, looks so much cooler.
Luna,
gonna be real.
Luna's parents as flowers, I think, is also nicer, to be honest.
Mostly, yeah.
Well, whatever. Anyway, but that's out of the scope of it. We're not talking about which censorship is better. Yes, sometimes spats is better than panties. Okay, you fight me.
Whoa.
Next, the main topic, of course, is the actual interview that happened during that Taiwan event. Again, I was not able to get video footage of it, but somebody over on, I believe it was Kawata over on Shadowverse magazine, which is an English and Japanese website that covers everything Shadowverse. They did, in fact, post the translated interview, and I'll just go ahead and link that to you guys right now over here in the doco, and we'll just read through the questions and I guess question by question give our feedback on what we think about the answers. And some of these, of course, I heard this in person from the translator, but some of this was like still floored me. Like I was kind of how to say, surprised by some of the answers. So let's just get into it. So again, this was from the Taipei event, and it was the producer Yuito Kimura, who is of course known in the community as KMR, the main producer for Shadowverse and previously the main producer for Grand Blue Fantasy as well. The first question is: the competitive card game app Shadowverse will celebrate its 10th anniversary this year since its release in 2016, and it remains a consistently popular title among many smartphone games. Shadowverse Worlds Beyond was originally scheduled for a 2024 release, but with its predecessor approaching its 10th anniversary, why are you releasing another live service game at this time? What is the intention behind releasing it as a standalone brand new sequel instead of a major update to the existing game? Which is actually a question that I covered in a video recently, and the answer as to why this reboot is necessary is that, quote, "We've been operating the original Shadowverse for about 9 years now, and when you look ahead to developing it for the next 20 or 30 years, we recognize some technical limitations. We felt it was necessary to restart as a new app. By creating a new app, we can offer the enjoyment of a fresh gameplay experience, and it also becomes a more accessible entry point for new players. We believe that once you actually play it, you'll understand our intention, so please look forward to the new title." So yes, that was the big bombshell that I did not realize how long they wanted Shadowverse to last. So,
well, KMR said that during, it might have been the Rage event, maybe the other main reveal event of Shadowverse that happened only a few months ago, that Shadowverse Worlds Beyond was happening so they could get another 10 years out of the game. Plus, that I very specifically remember him saying, looking at Shadowverse for the next 10 years.
Yes.
While looking back at the previous.
I believe him when he says that, because like way back in the day, in like 2017, 2018, I was talking to a Side Games person, and they were like, we want Shadowverse to last 10 years. And they got to 9, so pretty close. But 20 or 30 is a lot longer than 10, so I was kind of shocked at the jump in the number here. Tonka, what do you think about playing Shadowverse for the next 30 years?
30 more years of Portalcraft. Let's go.
Let's go, dude. Well, I mean, to be fair, Pokemon and MTG and stuff last that long, and I think like Hearthstone is the longest running like actual surviving digital only card game, and Shadowverse is trying to like compete for that title now. I feel so. There you have it. And the Hearthstone engine feels like shit, so I'm glad that they're updating the engine. And I did mention that technical limitations was definitely part of it in the video I produced about why the reboot is necessary. So pretty vindicated by this answer here. Yeah.
I can definitely see myself playing Shadowverse in some form or another for many years to come. Yeah. So
I mean, for me, obviously, because it's my job also, but.
See you guys in Shadowverse 3 in 10 more years.
Dude, can you imagine? I hope they don't reboot again, dude. If they reboot again, then they really did pick up bad habits from Bushiroad, bro.
No, I think it would be reasonable to reboot every 10 years or so to update the game engine. Like it's going to be a case of like, yeah, it feels really clean and smooth now, but there's going to be a lot more they can do in 10 years.
Oh, I mean, to be fair, Worlds Beyond feels really good in the hand because I've played it twice now, for several hours at this point, probably 3 hours all told I've played for Worlds Beyond. So I've probably played Worlds Beyond more than anybody who's actually been employed at Side Games at this point, because I went to 2 of the release events. But like Shadowverse original felt dated when it came out. So like I feel like you could get a lot of mileage out of this current build with this current engine, and
looking at some of those beta and vanilla screenshots on the Steam page really makes Shadowverse look dated back then.
Yeah, for sure.
I think something as simple as the fact that just clicking between menus, some of the menus would take more than a second to load in Shadowverse Classic. That being gone in Worlds Beyond is not gonna be something you notice once you've noticed it once.
Yeah, dude. By the
You know what
way,
I mean?
No, dude,
by the
You'll feel
way,
it once, and then it'll just be good for the rest of your
I'll
career.
just say this right now. It feels really responsive. The loading screens are very short. For some reason, the only loading screen that was in the demo build was like, you know how they show like a card art and like a piece of flavor text for the loading screen? The only loading screen that was in the demo was for some reason Dark Angel Olivia and only her and no other card. So I assume that, you know, adding loading screen.
She's kind of a mascot.
Yeah, like adding loading screen splash text is probably the least of their priorities. So whatever. But going into practice mode, there was like I'm pretty sure I can look back at the footage, but I don't remember there being any loading screen from clicking start game into the practice. It just like went into it immediately, which I thought was freaking awesome. Like you literally click play and it immediately goes into the battle screen. Like no loading at all, which is amazing. So I'm very happy about that.
no, dude, like Worlds Beyond looks really good. It feels like the perfect game right now. But Shadowverse 3, dude, no, Shadowverse 3 is going to be zapped straight into your mind.
Hell
fully
yeah,
immersed
dude.
with the game.
Do you see that Valve is making a brain chip now so you can play your Steam collection on your brain? Hell yeah.
And most importantly, in 10 years, Shadowverse 3, that's going to be the one. That's going to be the one that has the Mahjong mode.
That we had to delay the Mahjong mode by 20 years. All right, next question. In the past, you mentioned that both titles would continue to operate in parallel. While many players are currently excited about Worlds Beyond, we've also observed some anxiety regarding the future of Shadowverse operations. Could you tell us a bit about the future operation policies and goals for both titles? For the original Shadowverse, and this is the answer, sorry. For the original Shadowverse, we are prioritizing an environment where players can confidently enjoy playing with their existing cards. On the other hand, with the new title, Worlds Beyond, we aim to deliver a more dynamic and fresh game experience, allowing players to battle and enjoy each other's company in innovative ways. So basically, they're just saying that, you know, Shadowverse will continue to be alive because people spent money on their collection and they don't want people to feel slighted, I guess, is sort of what I'm taking away from this. You guys not?
Nothing new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty standard stuff.
They're not specifying like how much time they're gonna keep supporting Shadowverse 1. Just that they're still supporting Shadowverse 1. They're keeping the lights on.
I mean, I buy it. Like once Worlds Beyond comes out, the amount of people on Shadowverse 1 servers will drop dramatically, so they can just like reallocate those servers to Worlds Beyond, and it'll be fine. And the upkeep cost will probably be negligible. Why am I saying that? It's because Rage of Bahamut has been on upkeep mode for like past 20 bajillion years, and it's still up, so it'll probably be fine, right? So next up, oh yeah, Kaylin, sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, recently, The Elder Scrolls Legends closed its servers permanently after being on maintenance mode for like 5 or 6 years, and like that wasn't too expensive to keep running. I'm sure of that, but they didn't do anything to preserve the single player modes, which there was plenty of in The Elder Scrolls Legends. I think I will be able to move on from Shadowverse 1 shutting down its servers if they are able to actually preserve the single player modes.
That's a good point.
And I think, like, even if they were just able to incorporate them as movies, pretty much, that you are able to play through at your own pace.
I mean, several mobile games have done that recently, and they're kind of setting a new standard for it, I think. Like, I think the new Animal Crossing mobile game did that, and I think one of the Pokemon mobile games maybe did something like that as well.
Mega Man Gacha game has an offline
standalone version and I think Alchemy Stars is also doing it like that, so...
I was really hoping World Flipper would get one, but...
Yeah, so hopefully Side Games learns from that. It would be nice, right? Like, if they just kept story mode and practice mode, and then you, like, build a deck with your collection and just go to practice mode, that would be great, right? Like, I think... And then just take
I can completely understand if one day, even one day in only a few years, all PvP gets closed in Shadowverse. I would understand if that happens.
Right. But I think you bring up a really good point that it would be nice to preserve that single player experience, and it wouldn't really cost them anything. You just like make a build with all the PvP stuff taken out and just upload it to upload the build to the Steam servers and then just leave it at that, right? So I feel like
yeah, that would be the premium. If they are able to create an offline version that can just sit there and people can come back to and play at their own pace, that would be great.
Yeah, just rebrand it on the Steam page as a single player experience and then, you know, move on. I think that's totally doable. Yeah. Honestly. Okay.
And that's years down the line from now.
Yeah. I think that would be nice. That's a good point. All right, next question. Competitive card games with their deck building, battle rules, and diverse card effects often give new players the impression of a high barrier to entry. This can be particularly frustrating for those new to card games. How will Shadowverse Worlds Beyond guide the new players in this regard? Which is a great question because a lot of people have told me personally that the onboarding experience for Shadowverse 1 sucked real bad and didn't teach anybody how to effectively play the game. So that's probably...
When I started playing, it felt like the game expected you to already know how to play Hearthstone.
Yeah. That's
Which
what I've heard.
I did, and I was rather effective at early Shadowverse because of that.
Yeah. So I understand that. So let's see the answer. The answer is, we've prepared a very comprehensive tutorial feature within the game, while we can't share many details at this moment. For example, the practice mode includes an AI advice feature, quote-unquote, parentheses, beta, to help players learn how to progress through the game in a practical setting. So that's the AI helper, Eudie, in the practice mode, teaching you what to play turn by turn. Furthermore...
I will trust Eudie with my life.
We don't know how good she's going to be. What if she just leads you to miss lethal every turn, bro?
It's going to be a very important question to find out if Eudie is canned responses that were pre-written for scenarios you will end up in, or if she is generating responses based on new data. That would be...
I think that the current Shadowverse AI has an algorithm of if, because how else would the computer do that AI, right? Like when you do an AI fight in story mode.
Well, to be honest, ChatGPT. That kind of thing, which
that's
the answer I'm hoping not, but it would be funny.
The Shadowverse Shaman's Battle Switch game actually has a advice button you can click at any time too. It's not great, but it functions kinda, sorta, mostly.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna be based off that. They'll use the same algorithm that they use for, it's not generative, but it's if X do Y. The kind of AI that they have for their AI battles.
And then AI as in the sense that it's video game code the way they've been doing for
and they'll just export that into text instead of actually doing the operation. So that's probably what's going to happen. If it is generative, then oh boy, because Darth Vader in Fortnite.
Yeah, Fortnite Darth Vader. You cannot realistically censor AI enough.
Another interesting thing is that they said that we can't share many details, but we already knew about the AI advice thing. So do you think there's going to be more ways to onboard? Maybe tutorials like how Legends of Runeterra did it, or whether they drop you into a specific scenario and teach you how to use each keyword or whatever. That could be good as well, but we'll see. All right. Next up, it's a similar question. For new players who have never played Shadowverse before, how does the development team plan to attract them? And the answer is, the next generation visual presentation and the dynamic gameplay experience, which we've named Super Evolution, not only provide even more enjoyment, but also make it easier for players to enjoy the game casually. While we can't reveal many details at this moment, again, they're being pretty cagey, new features like Shadowverse Park have been added, allowing players to enjoy the game with friends and other players. I don't know, I'm a little worried that they're still being so secretive this close to launch. I would not be surprised if the Shadowverse Park feature is delayed. Honestly.
Neff being put in maintenance mode the moment she gets printed, kind of delayed.
What happens when maintenance is over? That's when maintenance begins. We immediately get to do that meme as soon as Worlds Beyond. I hope that's not the case.
Someone's gonna redraw that with Garland and Dryzen.
With Garland and Diol, because it was Luna originally. I already made the meme, but I just did a low effort Photoshop of it. But yeah, it's
They've also confirmed that Super Evolution is literally hype moments and aura to attract
Well, I mean, as an anime card game, a lot of anime card games do this thing where they just make the numbers really, really big.
I hate that, man.
So Shadowverse wants to be have low numbers and clear rules text like Western card games, but they still want hype moments. They still want hype moments and aura that anime card games have. So Super Evolution is kind of the best of both worlds, I think, honestly. And after having played it, it is fun to super evolve something, smack an opponent, have the one blowback damage like I'm knocking the enemy follower into them. It's fun. So I kind of get it.
Just going to be interesting to see what happens when the super evolves don't end the game and then it goes into the post game.
Yeah, we talked about that in the last episode as well. I don't know. Some of these win cons aren't win conning. They're just doing 5 damage. But maybe that's better. Maybe that's more like old school Shadowverse, where, boards actually matter and you actually have to have a long game that isn't just I win button on turn 7 or whatever. So maybe it's better this way. Who knows? All right. Next question. Is there any concern that existing players of Shadowverse will have an overwhelming skill advantage over new players in Worlds Beyond? And again, the answer is, while we can't share many details at this moment, we are making adjustments to the game system, so we don't have significant concerns about that. I don't know about that. I played the demo, and it's basically Shadowverse, but with an extra bell and whistle attached. So I think people who did play Shadowverse at this moment in time, from what I can tell, people who did play Shadowverse, especially like mid lifespan to early lifespan Shadowverse, will have a very clear advantage over new players. And honestly, as they should, because like you spent all that time playing the game, like you should be better at the game than other people. Like the skills should be transferable.
I don't think Shadowverse players will have that much of an overwhelming skill advantage because Shadowverse players don't read.
So yeah, and it's not as if it's going to be a complete reset to 0 for everyone, because people that played Shadowverse, at least to master rank, are getting a couple more packs than everyone else, right?
It's true, and
they
I also
already confirmed that.
I won't name names, of course, but I just will say I did not lose a single game in that press event. So
that's so rude.
I think that I do have a skill advantage. So yeah. Anyway. Next question. Many new characters have already been revealed for Shadowverse, but the story outline for the new title, Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, doesn't seem very clear yet. Can you tell us a bit about what kind of story the new title will have? Also, it appears that characters from Shadowverse will also appear in the new title. How will the relationship between the characters in both titles work? We're very curious about this. Conversely, is there a possibility that characters from the new title will appear in Shadowverse? And then, again, he starts with, we cannot go into detail about story content at this moment. This one I actually get, because you don't want to spoil the story, obviously, before the game comes out. But anyway. However, this time, instead of the traditional ensemble drama involving many intertwining characters, the story is structured to focus on a different protagonist in each chapter, developing independent narratives for each. Furthermore, in this story, chosen individuals from various worlds will participate in a battle called the Banquet of Wolves, which is Feast of Wolves in English. All the main characters are participants in this Feast of Wolves, and each will throw themselves into the battle with different reasons and feelings. So we already knew that, but yes, interestingly, they're going to be like focusing on each chapter from a different character's perspective rather than just like having them all mishmashed as an ensemble, which I think is pretty cool. You get like the direct POV of the character you're playing, which I guess makes it feel more like, you're embodying that character in some ways, which is nice. And then he goes on to say, previously, at an event held in Japan, we received a question asking, will Orisa no longer appear? Which was very funny because it was from the Orisa voice actor, I think. To answer this, the worlds of Shadowverse and Shadowverse Worlds Beyond are connected. Orisa's journey of helping those in need isn't over yet. The day might come when she extends a helping hand once again. Furthermore, in card battles, the main characters from the previous title, Shadowverse, will appear in Worlds Beyond as leader skins, which will be available for purchase in the shop from the game's release. So there you go. We already knew.
I wonder if they'll know they're in Worlds Beyond.
We already know. We already knew most of this, but I think one point is that the Orisa thing is probably not going to be soon. That's probably going to be way down the line before they.
Well, I hope and pray at night that Orisa never returns. So,
wow. And also, what do you think about each chapter being like the POV of the character you're playing rather than just like an ensemble mishmash?
I much prefer the idea of that because, you replayed the original 7 chapters for everyone moderately recently. It's rough. I don't like how interconnected they were in the beginning. They definitely drifted away from that over time into each character having their own quest line in the stories.
I hear you. What about you, Tanko?
I like how the question attempted to ask if they would be putting the Worlds Beyond characters into old Shadowverse. I'm like, no,
that's crazy.
I mean, that would be an idea for a battle pass, but that's not going to be at least. So if they're going to do that, it's not going to be.
Dude, there's like 10 bajillion story leaders they could make into battle pass leaders first before they do Worlds Beyond characters, right?
And then they can eventually drag all those characters into Worlds Beyond someday.
So true. I can't wait for Bandit Robber from Luna story mode to come into Worlds Beyond.
And ironically, yes.
Hey, nice house you got here. Mind share the wealth? All right, the next question. Shadowverse is a card game with an incredibly complex worldview. I don't really understand that, but Anyway, from a developer's perspective, what was the initial trigger or inspiration that led you to build such a detailed and rich worldview for a single card game? I think they meant like backstory and like world building. Yeah. So the answer is we believe that to continuously release many card packs and to keep providing enjoyment to players in a card game, it was essential to set the stage in various different worlds. Only by incorporating a rich amount of information to each card pack, enough to construct a standalone story, we could truly depict an appealing worldview and the vibrant characters living within it. Which I really am glad that they said that, which means that, it's not just going to be Rage of Bahamut ports, they're actually, and we see this from the default characters, but it's good to see it in writing that, each character has their own world that they can explore in a pack, which I think is super cool. So I'm happy about that.
Yep, that's definitely the correct direction to go. It allows for a lot more diversity of storytelling.
Yeah, and aesthetics too, right? We got the Chinese from Galen and the robots from Dreitzen and all that. The French with Medieval Elise. So,
okay, we could do without those.
All right, next question. I saw a new feature called Super Evolution in the game. This guy just started playing the game. It brings completely new benefits to specific cards, and I found it very cool. How did the idea for Super Evolution originally come about? From a development perspective, could you tell us what triggered or inspired this idea? The answer. The trigger is when the battle rules for Shadowverse Worlds Beyond were largely finalized, and I suggested that we should add a standout rule that represents a new generation of digital card games. At the time, there were various ideas besides Super Evolution, but ultimately we decided Super Evolution, which further enhances Evolution's Shadowverse's most distinctive battle mechanism. Sorry, I didn't breathe that whole sentence and almost died. Was the most fitting for its position as a new title in Shadowverse IP. The content of Super Evolution underwent many adjustments during the development process. Yes, so we knew that from the initial release. It was not the way it was now. So that's like public information already. One of these was to make the Super Evolved follower's body larger to create a visually impactful design based on this visual effect. We also designed changes in abilities, for example, knocking away defeated enemy followers and sending them flying into the opponent's leader to deal additional damage. It made Super Evolution a spectacular and unique system. As a result, it became a system with significant impact for players who want to enjoy card battles casually, and for advanced players, it increased the diversity of finishing combos, quote-unquote, parentheses, lethal options, allowing for deeper research and exploration. We hope everyone will experience the unprecedented fun of card battles through Super Evolution. So, I think my takeaway from this is that the original brief, like the original way that they did Super Evolution was pretty limiting, where it seemed like only certain cards could Super Evolve. And I do like this reasoning that allowing every follower to Super Evolve and have that one blowback damage does let you like find new lines, which opens up like way more depth in terms of how you proceed throughout your game. So I do like that they went with this iteration, and I think that reasoning is really good. So that's what I took away from this one.
I didn't really think about it when Super Evolution was first revealed, but the idea that you could be playing your deck out and you just never find a card you would be able to Super Evolve, so you just lose because of that, doesn't sound very interactive.
Yeah.
And having to build your deck around cards that are able to Super Evolve, yeah, it doesn't sound too fun, really. So I'm glad they changed that to just be anything.
Tonka, what about you?
I sure can imagine many diverse options for lethal combos. I'm personally like scared of the potential Super Evolve is going to have in the future, since it always seems like such a game warping mechanic as is, and I have concerns for how the game's card balancing, card design is going to develop over time, and what Super Evolve is going to do to that over time.
At least in the demo, I felt it was pretty good, because I actually have a first-hand example of this. I was up against Puppet, and Fire Drake Whelp has Intimidate, meaning it can't be attacked. So it's like naturally very good against Puppet as long as they don't have Clear. And I knew that in their deck they had Divine Thunder, which would do 1 damage to all enemy followers. So what I did was I played Olivia, and then I played Little Dragon Nanny. Spawned out a Whelp, and then I Super Evolved the Olivia, which Super Evolved the Whelp, and then the Whelp couldn't be attacked by puppets, so it was always on the board, dealing 4 damage every turn, and that won me the game. So just being able to evolve a literal 1/1 token in that matchup was like my way to lethal. And I thought that was like, when I did that, and then I heard this answer from the interview, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually. And I'm glad that this was the reasoning behind it. So at least from my first-hand experience, it actually does work and does make sense in that way. Fire Drake bullied the puppet player like legitimately because they just couldn't kill it.
That confirms puppets suck.
Yeah, the puppet people is really bad. Yeah. Anyway, next up, the bonus play point system seems to give the second player a significant advantage by making it easier for them to summon powerful cards in the late game. How does the development team plan to adjust the system to maintain game balance? Which is, a very interesting question because I still think going first is significantly better. But anyway, the answer is, as a premise in one-on-one turn-based card games, the player going first tends to have a significant advantage. In Shadowverse, to balance the win rates between the first and second player, we've given advantages to the second player, such as drawing more cards on the first turn, having more evolution points, being able to evolve first, and introducing particularly powerful cards to the second player. So they're referring to like stuff like Ramiel or Angel's Blessing here. In Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, while maintaining the element of being able to evolve first, we've newly introduced the bonus playpoint rule. The development team has conducted extensive playtests and large-scale testing, and we have already confirmed from battle data that the win rates between first and second are balanced. Okay, that's good news. But, of course, that's only internal testing, right? And when you actually like play the game with millions of people, hopefully, things may change. So they also add on, of course, even after the game's release, we will continuously monitor players' battle data, and if any issues are identified, we intend to make swift adjustments and responses. So that's good to hear. I mean, they did that in the first game, too. Like, initially in Shadowverse 1, the player going second didn't draw 2 on their first turn. And they actually removed that from Worlds Beyond. I wonder if they're going to introduce it down the line if it turns out going first is still too good. So, interesting stuff.
Let's get 2 bonus play points.
Yeah.
Would you rather have 1 point or 2 points?
You actually do get 2 bonus play points. I don't know if this is a joke. You get 1 between turns 1 and 5 and 1 turn 6 onwards.
Oh, yeah. 3 points.
You can have 11 play points. 11!
You actually can have 11 play points. I tested it. If you're at 10 and you click the button, you do go to 11.
Actually really innovative that you can toggle the extra play point off after you use it. Kind of wild, actually.
Yeah, like
no other card game lets you do that.
You can click it and you can be like, oh, actually I decide not to, and then unclick it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Next. Crests appear to be highly innovative design that makes it easier for players to understand card usage and the flow of the battlefield. Where did the inspiration for the system come from, and how is it devised, or how did it evolve into its current form? The answer, Shadowverse has actively pursued esports development, and the game itself has become increasingly complex to allow pro players to demonstrate advanced playing skills. One of these mechanisms is what we call leader ability granting. By having the leader possess special abilities for several turns or throughout the battle, highly advanced plays that would normally be impossible became achievable. However, this also led to problems where gameplay became more difficult and understanding the battle situation became more complex, posing a hurdle for new players. In Worlds Beyond, as a completely new digital card game, aims to be more accessible for new players. Therefore, we introduced the element of abilities granted to leaders, which is traditionally difficult to recognize in the visual form of crests on the battle screen. With the design of crests, it also became possible to grant countdown effects similar to amulets and abilities that last for several turns and more clearly expressed or more clearly displayed on the screen. This aims to help new players understand the game content more intuitively. Yeah, that all checks out. Yeah. Because clicking the leader and then scrolling through a text-only list to see where the effects come from was dumb. Like, let's just be honest.
No,
this absolutely needed mechanic.
Do you remember before they even added the leader skills when you click the leader? Like, before you didn't even have an indication at all. You just have to, you just know.
It's just like it was so stupid. It just felt tacked on, and I'm really glad. Like, it's something that we obviously got used to after playing the game for a while. But for new players, they'll just be like, "What the hell's going on?" So like having it on the screen, visually represented like that, it's just like it's perfect. It's the perfect change.
It's going to allow for an experienced player to just drop into a match, look at the board, and know exactly what's going on.
Yes,
even if they can't read the crest, they can see the artwork on it, and that's going to tell them what that leader effect is from their memory. Whereas with Shadowverse 1, you might just not know that the Havencraft has 14 leader effects currently active, and every time they end turn, they deal 50 damage.
And also, I love the idea that crests are worded exactly like cards, because that lets you do some really fun stuff. Like, imagine a spell that reduces the countdown of your crest. Like, that'd be so cool. Like, the fact that they're worded exactly like cards are opens it up to that kind of interaction. Or like next time a crest last words activate it twice, something like that. That's just an example off the top of my head, like a potential example. I feel like that would be so neat. And like I just love it. I love this new system. Like, honestly, I can't say enough good things about it. Obviously, I haven't tested it hands-on because it actually wasn't in the demo at all, but I personally think it's a really good idea. All right.
It's also a good example of limiting design space can increase the amount of strategy available to you. If you're only allowed 5 different leader effects and none of them stack, then that's going to actually allow for more strategy than just stacking 7+ leader effects like Haven can do.
Yeah, not only that, but like imagine in the future you can give negative leader effects to your opponent to like clog their crest zone, right? That would be cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I just love it. I love this change. This is maybe my favorite change. I know that like evolution is the big change, like the biggest mechanical change, but I think crest might be for my money my actual favorite change in the game. So,
leader effects were always my favorite thing to do since Carabosa was printed.
yeah, so I think it's awesome. All right, next up. Question. Abysscraft is a new... Oh, this is a very hot topic one. Okay.
Big one.
Question. Abysscraft is a new class that combines the existing Shadow and Blood classes. Why did you decide on such an integration? I imagine both of these classes had many dedicated players in the previous Shadowverse, so I'm curious about the reason. Answer. Shadowverse initially launched with 7 classes, and then Portalcraft was added, bringing it to an 8-class system. In the course of long operation, we gradually recognized class balance as a challenge. Okay, as an aside, very happy that they just outright said this, because like it's something that we all know is tough to do, balancing 8 classes, and
Blood could never be balanced.
Right. For a better game environment, we have always strived to reduce the disparities in usage rates among each class. During the development process of Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, we re-examined the question how many classes are optimal. After considering factors such as card acquisition difficulty, ease of deck building, diversity in battles, and changes in the arena environment, we determined that 7 plus neutral was the optimal configuration. Is he admitting that Portalcraft was a mistake?
Always has been.
Next. He adds on to this. Regarding the reduction of one class from Shadowverse, we also engaged in multifaceted discussions, ultimately referencing the configuration that was already shown success in the physical card game Shadowverse Evolve. We decided to integrate Shadowcraft and Bloodcraft and establish them as the new Abysscraft. Before we talk about this, let me go to the next question real quick because it ties in. Next question is, are there any plans to introduce new keywords or class-specific mechanism for followers and spell cards in the future? Something like the Vengeance mechanic that Bloodcraft previously had. Answer. We do plan to add new keyword abilities and class-specific abilities. However, as Shadowverse Worlds Beyond is an entirely new digital game, one of our primary goals is for new players to be able to enjoy it casually. Therefore, we aim to avoid the game becoming excessively complex due to a rapid increase in abilities. We hope to gradually add these new elements at a relatively gentle pace while looking for appropriate timing that many players can enjoy. Does that mean that blood keywords like Vengeance and Wrath are just like not in the game at base set? Because so far from what I've seen of the pre-build and all the reveals, it's very much Shadowcraft and basically no Bloodcraft at all. Is Bloodcraft actually dead in ditch? Like,
that's messed up.
Oh no.
I've been saying this for a while, and I'm not even saying this just based off of how broken it's been, but I'm of the opinion that I don't think Bloodcraft deserves rights, and I'm glad that it's gone.
Whoa!
No. So when they talk about class balance, I don't think it's just about like, you know, power level balance, but I also think it's what ties into it is class identity. And in my opinion, Bloodcraft lost a lot of its class identity over time, where a whole bunch of mechanics of Bloodcraft became redundant and useless except for Wrath. Like eventually Bloodcraft just became Wrath.
Yeah, that's actually
with
true.
Like Vengeance thrown in just because you happen to go into Vengeance by playing Wrath.
Yeah.
The best example of Blood losing its identity over time would be the Urias card once it got buffed. Being just you play those 3 spells and you're activating Wrath, Avarice, and Vengeance every turn.
So who cares? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it definitely made them no longer matter.
I think
I'm personally on team Shadow doesn't deserve rights, but I'm a dragon man and I've felt that way for 8 years.
I think Vengeance and Wrath are horrible keywords. I'll just say it. But I think
what about Avarice? You think Avarice is good?
No, that's bad too. I do think they should add Sanguine though. Like that's actually an okay keyword and they should probably add it.
But like when they say like, oh yeah, the success of Abysscraft and Shadowverse Evolve, I'm kind of mixed on how they handled Abysscraft and Evolve, to be honest, because
I don't know. I thought it was okay. And in terms of character representation, at least we got Vania for the blood side, and then we got a bunch of shadow characters being good too, like Ector and stuff.
In terms of mechanic in Evolve, it's still mostly just it's mostly Shadowcraft mechanics in Evolve. Right now, there's Bloodcraft because Vampy is meta, but in Shadowverse Evolve, it kind of feels like Abysscraft is just a mishmash of random, like a range between just generic control pile or generic aggro pile. Like I personally still don't think Abysscraft has a strong identity in Evolve either. And,
well, the thing with
that.
Yeah, like the thing with Abyss, like you said, it's generic aggro pile, the Bloodcraft side, or generic control pile, the Shadowcraft side. So
no, but I guess so, but right now it just happens to be the aggro side is meta in the Evolve right now, but then it becomes mostly Shadowcraft
later
for most of the fan of Evolve, I feel. So,
but I think that might also stem from Bloodcraft's like lack of identity in digital too. Like that, honestly, just like they had a hard time porting it over to Evolve because the thing that they were working off of also had struggles in that sense, right?
It's just so much easier to design Shadowcraft mechanics because like every TCG interacts with the Discord, you know?
And it's fun. Like, we already know that interacting with the Discord is fun. So
I just hope Shadow never gets any cards like Grimoire again.
Yeah,
or Abyss never gets any cards like Grimoire. That broke the class IMO.
I will say that while I think they could do a better job of like at least having more Bloodcraft characters in, if not mechanics, and I do think that, you know, I'm totally fine with them gutting Vengeance, Wrath, and Avarice because they all suck, but they should add Sanguine. It's a legitimately good mechanic. It's fun in Evolve. It's not super relevant in Evolve.
You're going to have to refresh me and the audience on Sanguine.
Right. So Sanguine just means it's Sanguine is active for you if you damage yourself this turn. So like. You can ping yourself with an effect and then immediately pull it off, but you can't do like crazy stuff like once you proc 7 times, you activate Wrath forever and then do 12 bajillion damage.
Much more interactive.
It makes it so that each turn you have to think about, do I need to save my activator for this effect, or can I pull off doing it now and then just use this card as base next turn? Is that good enough? Stuff like that. Like it's way more interactive rather than just filling a quest and then being active forever. So yeah, I quite like Sanguine much more than the existing ones in digital. So I do hope that they port that in to like have some Bloodcraft identity. But right now it's literally just reanimate and necromancy. So
Igni, we recently had this conversation where you asked me like name a single good Sanguine card.
But you know,
the only good card I can think of was a self-ping, but not even like a Sanguine.
Yes, I did have this conversation with Tonko where I'm like, bro, is blood dead? And he was like, but what about Sanguine? And I said, name one good Sanguine card. And he couldn't name one. So, yeah, but you know, people can grow, they can change, maybe they can add a good one in this game, you know? That's all I'm asking for.
I'm sure they'll have to.
Yeah. Anyway. Next question. Oh boy, this is a long interview. Shadowverse Worlds Beyond is quite different from the traditional Shadowverse in terms of gameplay and rules, and I hear its mechanics are very similar to the physical card game Shadowverse Evolve. I disagree, but it's quite different. It's actually more like regular Shadowverse and Shadowverse Evolve. But anyway, so my main question is, with these two titles, Evolve and Worlds Beyond, having similar core systems, what are the main differences between them? Answer, since Evolve is a physical card game, our game design especially emphasizes experience unique to physical play, such as flipping cards, stacking evolution cards. Also, players can enjoy advanced psychological warfare during during follower attacks through cards that can be activated at specific timings during the opponent's turn. They're talking about quick spells here. On the other hand, as an entirely new digital card game, Worlds Beyond prioritizes accessibility to allow more players to enjoy it casually. For example, simple card abilities and easy to understand UI, exciting visual effects, at the same time without sacrificing the strategic depth that the Shadowverse IP has cultivated over many years in the esports scene, providing challenging rules and gameplay through designs like Super Evolution and Buenos Playpoint. In summary, Evolve's characteristics lie in its unique physical card game experience and strategic depth, while Worlds Beyond can be said to be a new digital card game that balances accessibility with strategic depth. So I'm pretty sure this means that they're not porting over quick spells or engage effect, not like follower engaging to Worlds Beyond, and thank God for that, because those really do only work in the physical space, I think. So
I can imagine.
Yeah. There you go.
Worlds Beyond is a casual baby game for salaryman Tanaka commuting on the train.
I mean, they're gonna cover more about how, but you say that, but legitimately and unironically, the casual player base is the lifeblood of any game, and
exactly.
And any video game that caters too hard to the competitive community dies. No joke, no cap.
Oh yeah.
And I'm glad that Shadowverse is doing both. You know, like you have to have both. You have to have aspirational play, but you also have to make the game freaking fun, man. And I'm glad that they actually see that as a priority. So honestly, this is the best possible thing they could have said for me. Because if they were just like, nah, we're going all esports, I would have been like, oh, this game's dying in a year. Like, I'm so glad that they didn't say that, honestly. Next question.
Like,
sorry, go ahead.
Them keeping, like, ideally, I would hope that they keep the core design relatively simple and accessible for a long period of time. So my fear of Super Evolve getting more oppressive as core design gets more advanced, at least that indicates that there will be a bit more time before any crazy power creep, I would hope.
I hope so too. Obviously, we don't know because the game's not out yet, and obviously this would only be something that we can observe over many, many years. But so far, from the reveals shown, all of the effects are really simple. They're like 1 or 2 lines. They're not like 10 bajillion lines long like some of the cards in OG Shadowverse ended up being, right?
All the effects are simple, but like a lot of them are still really powerful.
And complicated. Like Seraph Lapis has a very complicated effect, but in terms of description and how you understand it, it's very simple.
Yeah,
so
it's still very readable.
Yeah, so I hope that this is indicative of like a design philosophy shift. But again, we'll just have to see if complexity creep ends up happening over time. But if it is indeed a design philosophy shift and this is how the game is going to be, I'll be very happy.
Shadowverse Evolve has been doing this pretty well, where it's a very like, it is very complicated, but the cards are still easy to read. We're still not getting Yu-Gi-Oh card text effects as far as I'm aware in Evolve to this day.
We're getting close though. Dual Rage into 3 different advanced dual forms for Levitine Dragon is that's a bit weird.
Yeah, but that's like intentionally anime flashy at least.
yeah. All right, next question. I heard that Shadowverse Park, a virtual space where players can interact more actively, will be introduced in this new title. This seems to be a close concept of a metaverse as a whole. In Japan, the word metaverse isn't cringe. They still use it unironically, so don't worry about it. You'll notice that they say metaverse in the Japanese videos, but they don't say it in the English version, so it's very funny. So first, what was the main aim in designing and introducing Shadowverse Park? And could you also tell us why you chose this format to promote player interaction rather than other systems? Answer.
Like Mahjong?
We did this because we have a strong desire for more people to enjoy Worlds Beyond and to expand the player community. While it's primarily a card game, it's precisely because of this that it's not actually easy for players to learn the rules and techniques on their own. We believe that an environment where players can learn and grow together with friends and other players is extremely important. Therefore, through this card game, we hope that players can build deeper connections and that even players who are not very familiar with card games can easily make friends. We aim for Shadowverse Park to be the catalyst for players to expand their community and for it to continuously evolve, or rather, to super evolve as a game that anyone can freely enjoy anytime. Oh, KMR, you cad. What do you mean? Anyway, I mean, I think they are taking a lot of inspiration from like how communities grow in physical TCGs, and they probably learned from Evolve, so it's kind of nice that they're, even if it's not directly from mechanics or design, they're still taking lessons away from the physical side and implementing it into the digital side, which I think is good.
I don't really think about it, but do we get proximity voice in Shadowverse Park? Because that would be hilarious.
I don't think so, and I hope not.
The Mahjong was going to have voice chat. Originally, that was planned. So,
dude,
is it that far out of the question?
We don't even know how many people are going to be in Shadowverse Park. What if there's like 100 people in there? And I'm just hearing...
Yeah, that's what I assume. 100 people. Yeah, that's what I assume.
Oh, my lord.
Oh, can you imagine the open mic situation right at the desk while the competitors are playing?
I can't wait to be insulted in so many new Japanese words I don't know.
Oh, it'd be so good. Dude, I can't even imagine.
Dude, I can't wait for the RP guilds.
Dude, I'm gonna start a guild, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have everybody dress up in the same clothes and just like walk across the park as like a giant mob, go up to one individual person and just like go like, "You got guts, kid," and challenge them to a duel. That'd be awesome. All right, next question. It's also about Park. I understand that Shadowverse Park will be introduced in this new title as a central hub area where players can engage in various activities in addition to traditional card battles. Is there a possibility that unique minigames similar to Gurabato Party Mode and Grand Blue Fantasy Versus will be implemented in the future? Gurabato is Grand Slam or whatever it's called in Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, which is Fall Guys in Grand Blue Fantasy, which they added, and then nobody played. So I don't think that they're going to, for me personally, I don't think they're going to do it. Let's see what the answer officially is. We will first focus on card battles. For future developments, we will consider the direction based on how players enjoy the game and their preferences. So yeah, no Mahjong. Sorry, Taco.
My preference is Mahjong. Thank you very much.
GG, bro.
Take note, KMR.
Next question. Is there a possibility of large-scale tournaments being held in overseas regions other than Japan, and even in multiple regions worldwide in the future? Do you have plans to introduce a point-based online competitive event or tournament series similar to the Tekken World Tour or Capcom Cup? Answer: at this moment, we don't have such plans, but we hope that if an opportunity arises in the future, we can make it happen. So no, basically. But I've had some people confused as to, like, does this mean there's no esports for Shadowverse? No. Shadowverse Shadowverse Worlds Beyond Open is already confirmed. This question, I believe, is specifically referring to offline events like Rage. That obviously would take a lot more logistical work, as well as translation teams, organizational teams, a venue, etc. We did have those in 2018 for Shadowverse Base, but
DreamHack, right?
DreamHack, and as well as World Circuit Singapore. World Circuit Singapore had great attendance, but DreamHack tours, I feel like not many people came, unfortunately. So it really depends on, I think, the place and the time and the demographics, and of course how successful Worlds Beyond is. But rest assured, even if we don't get offline events like Rage or whatever outside of Japan, Shadowverse Open still exists. So there is still organized play for outside Japan. Don't worry. Don't stress out. I can confirm this. It's been confirmed publicly. It's not secret information. So I saw people doom posting. Don't worry about it. All right. Final question.
They need to wait for me specifically to save money so I can afford to travel for offline events.
Dude, I've been to a Rage in real life, and it was so fun. It was a meta that I didn't even like. It was Heroes of Shadowverse.
Yeah.
And I just brought Wrath Blood. And gosh, even though the meta was not my cup of tea personally, it was so much fun actually like sitting across from a real person and them being like, instead of me thinking, oh, they're freaking roping, I could actually like, look across the table and see that they were nervous and thinking about what they were doing. It just made the game feel so much more personable. I don't know. I would love it, but you know, even if we don't get that, we do have open, so don't worry. Final question. Do you have a message for Shadowverse and Cygames fans in Taiwan and Southeast Asia? Answer. Seeing the significant response from pre-registrations in social media, we strongly feel that players in Taiwan and Southeast Asia have great expectations for this title. True. Game is huge in Indonesia, just to say. As Cygames, we are delivering this work with great confidence, and we hope that everyone, whether they have played before or are experiencing it for the first time, will genuinely enjoy this game. And that wraps up the interview. Any big takeaways? I think I've mostly said my points. What about you guys?
Yeah. On that last question, one thing I'd like would be a little more transparency in the video game industry, and for us to actually just be able to see the pre-registration numbers per country. That would be just a little nicety that I think I'd have. Like, I'd love to know if the Australian player base really is like 5 people, because I've only ever seen like 5 Australians playing the game.
Maybe, yeah, honestly. I mean, I think in general, he said the right things. There are some concerning stuff like Bloodcraft dead in ditch and no outside events outside of Japan. But obviously, they're not going to commit to a plan before they even know how well the game's going to perform, right? So that makes sense. But yeah, there is still some points of concern. But generally, I think he mostly said all the right things. And I'm kind of glad that he really assuaged some of my concerns. Like, yes, the game is going to be very accessible for casual people, which of course is the whole player base keeping the game alive. Yes, the story is going to be a thing. Yes, they're going to actively keep an eye on balance, and their like reasoning for why they made the changes they made, I think makes a lot of sense and is totally fair. I think there are some instances of softball questions in here. Like somebody could have asked about game economy and the liquefy system being changed, but obviously in a pre-regulated media event, they're not going to have like super tough questions be fielded. Even so, I feel like they did address stuff that wasn't entirely, flattering, like, with the Bloodcraft questions and stuff. So honestly, I think it was pretty fair, and I enjoy the fact that at the event they said no embargo, no NDA. As soon as you're out of this building, you can talk about it however much you want. So I think it does show a degree of confidence that I'm happy that they're having.
I personally wish they talked about the accelerated release schedule, since that's the thing they're gonna do apparently because of the quote unquote delay.
Yeah, with the monthly releases. I think
I have concerns about how that's gonna affect the speed of the game for both in terms of game design and also in terms of like currency, like resources to get the new cars within a faster period of time.
I do think that's a totally fair question as well, and hopefully. I don't think they're ever going to address it, actually, but hopefully it doesn't end up.
I still don't even understand why they're accelerating the release schedule.
I think
we talked about this last episode, but like, my theory is that like they have to speed up the schedule because they have specific like projects or like collabs planned in the future that has to line up with a certain expansion. But
maybe I think it might also be because they want more cards out so that they can introduce Take-Two faster, because they said that they are not going to introduce Take-Two until there's 3 sets in the game, because otherwise it would just be really boring.
Bro, after playing this Grand Prix, I don't want to play Take-Two ever again in my life.
One of my estimations is definitely they've already got a expansion tie-in planned that needed to come out at a specific time in, let's say, 2026. So they needed to get Shadowverse to that point quicker. It had so much already developed from the last year.
Could be.
I'm pretty sure the delays are not related to them printing cards, and they actually just have the cards for the next half year printed.
Oh, yeah. Dude. Even if the game wasn't delayed, I can tell you right now that they work definitely on a 6-month ahead schedule anyway.
Yeah, they've already confirmed that in the past. But
but this really isn't 6 months ahead.
This is probably like a year ahead now.
Yeah.
But also,
I'm just really hoping that the sped up release schedule doesn't like turn off new players, and it's gonna be a bit overwhelming when the first month is pretty chill, and then like the very next month or two, there's gonna be a whole new meta.
I agree.
I feel like I really hope I'm not driven to try and get the like master rank or whatever it is month 1. I don't want to have to speed through that and burn out.
Yeah.
I'd be perfectly fine with that taking 6 months like it originally took me.
Yeah. Also, another thing that I think you guys might be on the money there, like could be a collab in the future or something. I think also it might be due to the competitive circuit as well, because they want a World Grand Prix to line up at some point in the next year, and they don't want it to just be a World Grand Prix with freaking 2 sets in the game, because that'd be really boring, right? So that might also be a part of it. This is speculation, but that's what I'm thinking as well. I think there might be a myriad of reasons, honestly, but I do share your concerns that it will negatively affect the player experience, and hopefully the economy is good enough that it doesn't, but that's honestly remains to be seen, and we just have to wait and see how it shakes out, right? So
my personal speculation is that they're planning to put Spinaria in set 4, and they can't make such Petanka wait for expansions for too long.
No, you can make him wait.
Spinaria, so they're
it's called edging, bro. Get with it. Oh, sorry.
We might be 90 minutes in, but that doesn't mean you get to just stop talking about that.
Oh, wait. They call it gooning these days. Sorry. Different terminology. All right.
Now they are.
Shall we move into the viewer question? We did get some interesting feedback. Let's get into it. So, viewer question, what could Worlds Beyond do to attract more players? This is what we asked last episode, and we got some fun responses. Baron4718 says, definitely more promotion in the West. Most card gamers I know have no clue what Shadowverse is, even though it's a game that would definitely appeal to them. Even just increased ads on YouTube may work to accomplish that. So we covered this a little bit. I think it's starting, but I honestly think it'll be more after the game actually comes out. Like, that's probably my prediction for it.
On that note, they need to make sure when they are marketing Shadowverse, they aren't just making it look like a gacha game, because just people thinking Shadowverse is a gacha game is going to turn them off immediately. Make sure they know it's a card game, not a gacha game.
I don't know. I feel like gacha games are more mainstream than card games are. Maybe you should tap into that.
It's going to turn off the normies.
Oh, maybe. What do you think, Tonko?
I think just one look at Dryzen's character design is going to filter a lot of normies.
Okay, you're not. Yeah.
I don't think there's a whole lot they can do about that.
I thought you were going to say one look at Dryzen's character design will make them pre-register immediately. That's how I thought you were going to go with that.
I mean, it goes both ways. It goes both ways.
Right.
Whoa.
Next response is from Mauricium1714, who says, what it really needs is to be translated into more languages. Any video game available in a player's native language is much more appealing. By removing Spanish, they created a huge barrier for the Latin American audience. I believe we actually talked about this in the last episode as well, that hopefully hopefully if the game gets off the ground in a good way, they can add more languages like they did in the original Shadowverse. He also said a new anime would also be ideal so that protagonists can progress alongside the players and discover the new cards and strategies the game has to offer together. However, to make it appealing to a wide audience, subtitles alone aren't enough. It's essential to include voice acting in multiple languages, not just English. Also, adding on to that, one thing they could do is release it on YouTube like Cardfight Vanguard does, which would honestly help.
Yeah.
And finally, he also adds, and if they're going to make video games based on the anime, they shouldn't be console exclusive. Champions Battle would have sold much more if it had been released on Steam. True and real.
Obviously, absolutely.
Yeah.
Going back to what I said earlier about the pre-registration numbers, I would also love to see if maybe they aren't going to be releasing the game in other languages, like obviously not Spanish. Spanish is huge, but they're cutting like the French and Dutch, or was it Norwegian?
It's interesting too because they recently
maybe they just don't have numbers to make that economically viable.
Maybe. I also think it's interesting because sorry for interrupting you, but recently they also opened like Cygames Twitter accounts for those languages like French and Italian and stuff that they cut from Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. So I honestly I'm not entirely sure why. It seems like two contradicting like moves, right? Does that not feel weird?
I'd at least expect Spanish and Portuguese to have the numbers to support them, so that those just don't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I fully expect Spanish and Portuguese to come down the line.
Portuguese, Korean, and Chinese, obviously. High. Yeah.
Going back to the viewer question, though, I do wish that they could talk more about like potential other projects in the future, like another anime or a spin-off, since they were going pretty hard pushing Shadowverse as a multimedia franchise back in 2020 onwards, and the fact that they've slowed down on that, they're focusing on a new game, but I feel like not capitalizing off of that now with the brand new game is a bit of a waste of potential. So
yeah, I don't disagree.
I just want a season 3. I just want more. I just want to see my Flame Boys again.
Cygames have so many valuable IPs, and Shadowverse was the perfect hub world for all of them. So I always thought they're called Rage of Bahamut anime, but I always thought of them as Shadowverse anime. So they could just go that route and maybe force in more tie-ins that way, but I would like more original Shadowverse original side content.
Yeah, and it's so odd too because the Shadowverse Worlds Beyond game itself has literally an anime opening theme song and an anime opening animation, and it's like, is this hinting at something or is it excluding something? That's the big question. Like, are they going to have a
serious
multimedia
Shadowverse-based anime, not to do with cards and card gaming, would be pretty nice.
Would be sick. And imagine this, right? It's a serious card game anime based on the story of the game, and then before commercial break, they go like, "Hey, if you want to play Dryzen, here she is in the game." Ba-bam! And then it's like a showcase of a card that she's using, and then it goes to commercial break. They could do that.
Each new episode airs, and the eye catches are QR codes for card packs. They could do that.
Well, I mean,
they've already got the QR code system for copying deck lists. They could do that duel in the Shadowverse card game.
And they already do this in the Shadowverse Flame anime. At the end of the episode, just be like, "Hey, you saw this character in this episode. Check this out. He's actually a card in the game." Blah blah blah. That could be cool. Anyway,
yeah.
Final one. Tomb says collabs with IPs that are known in the West. I just really chose this comment.
So the Fortnite collab, yeah.
I just chose this comment as a springboard. What collab that are known in the West do you want? No anime, no manga. It has to be one that's known in the West. Go.
Michael Bay's Transformers.
NBA.
LeBron James.
NBA collab. Oh my god. That's awesome.
Phineas and Ferb is getting a reboot. They could have Dr. Doofenshmirtz be a Portalcraft leader. He's perfect for it.
You mentioned Fortnite. We get Jonesy from Fortnite. That would be freaking sick, dude. Minecraft, but the movie. So you get Jack Black in there. He evolves and he goes flint and steel, and then the character evolves. That'd be so good.
Everybody just emotes BM chicken jockey every game.
Anyway. That was just a fun one. Well, anyway, next, we'll talk about the next viewer question. That's right. Leave in the comments below. I also have a pinned comment down there. Please give your feedback, and you might be chosen to be read out on the next episode. What's your takeaway from this Worlds Beyond Media event? We covered a lot of information here from the interview, and I want to hear from you if there's anything we missed or any insights that you have that we didn't cover. Please let us know. Other than that, that's it for this episode. I've been Ignideus. You can find me over on YouTube, Twitch, etc. You can find Tonko over on YouTube and Twitch as well. And you can find Kaylin on the Reddit and the Discord and also on Twitter. So there you go. Anything we missed?
Yeah.
Is that it?
You will find my summon sign literally on Super Earth. I am playing a lot, and you'll be able to find me and play with me.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm everywhere.
All right.
You will find Caden's summon sign in Night Rain coming out in a couple days.
That's good.
Yeah,
well,
that's
probably
true.
not, because I have a train of people that want to play with me.
Yeah, we have three days till Night Rain, and I believe we, as the Evolve Point boys, are also going to be playing Night Rain at some point. So, how am I going to squeeze that in with all the Worlds Beyond videos I got to do?
Yeah, it's a busy time right now.
Just got to not sleep. All right.
Well, we don't have to record this podcast. We can just play Night Rain instead.
Evolve Point instead of the podcast. It's just us playing Night Rain.
Hell yeah.
People tune in like, where's my Shadowverse news? Shut up. We're fighting more GOT, okay? Anyway, guys, make sure to rate us on iTunes and Spotify or whatever. Sorry, it's not iTunes, it's Apple Podcasts now. It really does help, and, like the video and all that. It does help, and it makes me feel like this podcast isn't a waste of time, so I appreciate that. And I do appreciate all the nice comments that are like, oh, thank you for the podcast. I'm listening to it on my way to work and all that. It's really nice, so yeah. Keep it coming. It does motivate me. And that's it. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. Bye.